As you can see right underneath the iMac here, there are 3 Phillips head screws. Just remove this little tray here. Get underneath and pull out a tab. There's 2 tabs and a total of 4 memory slots. You can just go ahead and pull down on the tab while holding the chassis with your other hand. The piece of memory comes right out. Cups. Take 2 suction cups, place one on top of each corner of the screen. Once you did that, go ahead and grab the suction cups and prying against the screen assembly with your fingers, go ahead and pull that out just like so. It'll come right out, and that's it. The screen is being held in by 8 screws. There's 4 on this side, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there's 4 on this side, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Tweezers are nice to have for this procedure because of the magnetic pieces that are on the screen. When you unscrew a screw, the magnetic piece might take the screw over, so you want to be able to get it out with a pair of tweezers. Please note that if one of the screws falls into the casing during this process, it's okay because we're going to be able to get it out. Now that we undid all 8 screws, what you want to do is you want to grab the screen by the corners here and pry it out like so. Once you pry it out, you can tilt it at an angle and look down. Before you even touch this, make sure that you don't have a power cord plugged into this iMac, because this power supply right here is live. That means if you touch it while it's plugged into the wall, you're going to receive a shock. While you have the LCD cracked, what you want to do is in the top left corner right here, there is a cable. This cable, you could just grab it with your fingers and just gently pull to the right on it. Comes out just like that. By pulling this cable out, this will allow you to lower the screen a little more. The next cable we want to remove is the power cable from the converter for the LCD. You can remove this by getting your fingernail on this latch right here and just pulling it towards you and pushing it down like so. The next cable we want to remove is your LCD temperature sensor. You can grab this and pull up on it. It'll come right out. The next cable we want to remove is the video cable from the LCD. It has 2 little feet that you can press, squeeze together, and just pull up. Now that those cables are out, we can go ahead, lift up the LCD. Begin the logic board removal by pulling out all of the connections. We'll start off with the left and the right speakers. Pull out the left and the right speakers. There's on the audio cable here, there are 2 little feet that you have to squeeze together to pull it out. Next, the network card or the airport card. Next, the hard drive fan. You can just gently pull up on these. Next, we're gonna unplug the microphone. Next, the hard drive temperature. Next, the ambient sensor. Next, the CPU fan and the power switch. This right here is a piece of tape. You could just gently remove it. It's hooking up and protecting the infrared sensor. If you can't get it a cable, a very good tool to use is your tweezers. Now that we have all the cables removed, we can go ahead and start removing the logic board. The first thing we want to disconnect is this screw right here. Next screw is right here. The next screw is right over here near the power switch. And the screw besides that. Next screw is on the bottom right here. And this screw over here. This last screw right here. You can just remove this little plastic piece here. What we want to do is we want to remove the CD-ROM drive. Just pull it right up and out. This will allow us access. Go ahead and unplug it. Get it out of the way. Okay, next thing you want to do is you want to unscrew this fan. Comes right out, like so. Okay, once you pulled out the fan, what you want to do is you want to track down your IR cable right here and go ahead and pull up on this little wire, which will release the IR chip. Now when you tilt it, you want to pull it up and pry it upwards. Once you get it about an inch out, you want to reach in under the right side, and right here where I'm pointing my finger, you will find your SATA cable. You want to go ahead and release that SATA cable. Make sure that all the wires are out of the way, and you can go ahead and pry this board out. Once you get it to about this point right here, what you want to do is you want to reach in from the top here and get to the power cable. It has a little lever that you have to press in with your finger, just like the power supply, and just work it left to right and pull it up. Once you have that disconnected, you can go ahead and pull out the board. The board should be connection free. there you have it. Reinstalling your replacement logic board. This is the correct logic board position. One of the things that you don't want to do when you're reinstalling the logic board is to block up the cables. So you want to make sure that all of the cables are accounted for. You want to start off by moving some of the cables out of the way and just placing the board just a little bit in, like so. Once you got the board in about this position here, the first cable that you want to plug in is your power cable. Your power cable goes in right here. You want to make sure you hear a nice solid click when you put it in. The next thing you want to do is you want to trace out this here, your SATA drive cable. You want to plug it in right here. Once the power and the SATA cables are in, you want to go ahead and work this board in. Again, make sure that none of the connections like the power switch or the system fan or temperature sensors are being blocked in. This takes a little bit of patience and work. Before you completely lock it in, you want to make sure that you're not missing any cables. I have my power switch and my CPU fan right here. Some of these other cables you can pull out with a set of tweezers. For instance, here are my temperature sensors, my camera, my main fan. I have my camera here. This is my hard drive sensor. The microphone cable is right here. Okay, so nothing looks trapped. This looks pretty good. I think I can go ahead and position the board in all the way. Now that I got my board set, what I want to do is I want to go ahead, take my T10 screwdriver and screw the board in, starting with this screw here. This is the short one out of the set of all the screws that plug the board in. The next screw that I want to plug in is the one right over here by the CPU fan. The next one is the one right beside it. The next screw is going to be this one that's a little longer than some of the others. Is the last one that we undid. Next, this one right here on the very end. The next thing we want to do is we want to plug in the fan here. The next piece we want to plug in is this here infrared sensor that goes in the middle of the logic board. Remember, the sensor is inserted right here. And plugs in like so. Once we drop it in there, we can just go ahead and plug it in where it goes. Make sure to hear that little click. With our sensor inserted, we can go ahead and grab the little piece of tape that we folded here and place it right back over. Let's go ahead and reconnect our power switch here. After the power switch, we can go ahead and reconnect the CPU fan. Be very careful when you're plugging these in. If you're trying to plug something in and you feel resistance, it's most likely you're plugging it in the wrong way. Go ahead, flip it around and try to plug it in the other way. We got our ambient sensor right here that we're going to plug in up top. Okay, we got that there. Moving on to the next, the camera. Got our camera in. Our hard drive sensor, we can track it down. This is our hard drive sensor, so we'll go ahead and plug in our drive temperature sensor. Here we have our hard drive fan. We'll plug that in. Next we have our microphone. Let's go ahead and plug that in. Now our speakers. Here's the left speaker. Here's our right speaker. Here's our SD card. Here's our ODD fan. It comes in from the back here. Lastly, we got our sound card. The logic board is back in place. For our last piece of framing, if you've forgotten where this little piece goes, it goes right here with this notch right here going over the metal part, and it screws in with this little screw. Sometimes they'll have this little blue marking on it. Okay, let's reconnect our airport card. Lastly, let's reconnect our CD-ROM drive, or our super drive. Line up the two little holes that are on the right. Here's one, here's two, and just push that in. There's 4 identical screws that screw this in. Let's plug in our ODD sensor. And okay, that's it. We got it reassembled. To reinstall the LCD, you want to go ahead and take the LCD unit and put it in at an angle like this on the bottom first. Be careful, as the iMac might turn. You want to be able to hold it very firmly, and the iMac can control its upward and downward movement. First off, we want to go ahead and plug in the temperature sensor. Once the temperature sensor is plugged in, the next thing we want to plug in is the LCD converter. Just click it right in, like so. The next thing we want to plug in is the actual LCD cable. Lastly, we want to plug in the first cable that we took out. Right here, this cable goes right inside of this little lever, and it just clicks in like so. Okay, now we want to shift the LCD into the correct position and just push it in gently. Tilt it back. Something to note when reinstalling these T10 screws, when you're putting the LCD back together, because it has magnets on the side here, it's very difficult. Try to use a magnetic screwdriver. If you don't have a magnetic T10 screwdriver, try to use a combination of tweezers and the screwdriver at the same time. Reinstall 410 T screws on each side. Once you have your LCD back in, you want to take your glass, and preferably a microfiber cloth, and you want to gently rub out any dust that has collected while you've been working on the Mac. Then you want to do the same exact thing with the screen. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just nice and clean. Then what you want to do is, having the silver side up, you want to go ahead and put it towards yourself like so, and start flipping it up. As you go up, carefully hold it. It's going to use this magnets to lock itself. Make sure that the shorter end of the DDR3 chip is going to the left side. Remember, for each one of these black pieces of tape, there are 2 slots. So there's 4 slots in total. Underneath you can see the little latches. Go ahead and just push that in and you can hear it lock. Take your second chip, shorter side on the left, push it back as far as you can into the first slot closest to the back of the computer and just push it in. If you don't hear the click or you feel a lot of resistance when you're pushing it in, that means that you're doing something wrong. That's it.